In this video, I'm going to show you how we took this brand from $84,000 to $127,000 a month from organic Google search revenue, all through SEO, no ads. I'm going to break it down in this video. Stay tuned. So as I said, I'm going to show you the exact SEO strategy that we use to help this Shopify brand go from $84,000 a month to $127,000 a month in only 90 days. A pretty great success story that we've got. So I wanted to break that down in this video. So first of all, the client background and slash problem. So we started working with this brand and they were heavily invested in Google ads. That was their kind of main source of income, as well as email marketing. And so because Google ads was their main driver of revenue, they understood that their brand was very high search intent. And so SEO is a great opportunity to take advantage of, which they hadn't really done before. And so they had a friend do some low-level SEO, but nothing really happened through that. And so beyond that, the site hadn't really been optimized at all for SEO. And so, however, even without touching anything and without touching the site before, just because of the nature of their product and their business, they still had about 4,500 people a month visiting their website, according to Ahrefs, and over 300 keywords ranking in the top 3 positions. So they weren't doing terribly at all. They were doing pretty well, and they were still making $84,000 a month from Google search. And so there's a lot to tap into from an SEO perspective, which is how we've managed to get to $127,000 a month. So as with any brand that we take on, our approach is unique and specific to that brand. And so for this brand, they sell aftermarket car parts from a bunch of different car models. And so with each car model, there was anywhere from 3 to 30 different products within the car model. And there was like 120 different car models on the site. And so with a traditional kind of D2C e-com brand, you might have 10 to 20 main collections. If we're often referred to Gymshark and other gym stores like that. They've got joggers, jumpers, sweatshirts, and so forth, and you kind of fall within that. That's not the case with this brand. They had 120 unique collections that were all high intent, and then 3 to 30 to sometimes more products in each car model or each collection, which were also super high intent. And so there were over like 1,000 high intent pages that we needed to optimize for specific keywords on this site. And it's quite a big site as well. So there's a lot of work to do, which is also meaning there's heaps of opportunity, which is great. And so at the start of the project, each collection was just a H1 and a product grid. There was no content on any page. And our plan during the 90 days was to go through and optimize every single collection page and put more appropriate content and internal links to give Google more context about each of these pages. We also didn't actually start with the link building budget until about halfway through month 2. And since then, we've secured 3 high-quality backlinks to start the boost of this authority. And since making this document as well, we've managed to get some more budget and apply some more links to this site. So firstly is keyword research. As I said, there's over like 1,000 different pages for this. And so each page needed its own specific keyword. And so we had to identify which keyword best suited each collection and each product. And so targeting just the car name specifically wasn't going to work for every car. It worked for some, but not for everyone because they're highly competitive and they also didn't match search intent. And while others were specific enough that we could be a bit more generic and capture a good portion of the traffic. So it depended on what type of car it was. If it was a super well-known car, we can't just target the car name compared to one that's not as well-known. People that are searching for that are looking for parts and so forth. So as mentioned earlier, even with little SEO and a low DR rating, I think they were sitting at about 4 or 5 for their DR. This brand was already ranking in the top 3 for over 300 keywords and had just over 4,500 people visiting the site, according to Ahrefs. And so we identified the keywords suited for each collection page and started to map out content and internal links for each car model. And so we wanted to make sure that our internal linking strategy intertwined all these different car models. So then the link juice that we eventually build up through all the links that we build is going to flow on through the site really well. And so this ensured that the target keyword had the highest volume, yet was also the most relevant for that specific car model. So not every keyword we were putting on to a collection page was the highest volume keyword, but it was the one that made the most sense. So sometimes that's what happens with SEO. Rather than targeting the keyword that's got 10,000 searches a month that has, you'd think is the most relevant, as highly competitive, the search intent is not the same. It's not going to work and it's not going to convert. And so we target keywords that have 50 to 100 to 200 to 500 keywords searches a month, and that's how we incorporate it to get the most SEO potential out of this site. So before we started any of this content, we had to make sure that the site was technically sound. Do this with every single site because we don't want to waste crawl budget. And a lot of the issues that arose on this site related back to content And so it was duplicate content, thin content issues, duplicate titles, duplicate or multiple H1s, or missing H1s, and then no internal broken links as well was some of the issues. And then there were some other issues that needed to be addressed, like some soft 404 pages and invalid HTML that we cleaned up. And surprisingly, even though this was such a big site, there was nothing major that needed like instant fixing. A lot of these things we kind of tackled as we went through the content, but we made sure that we cleaned up all the immediate issues so we could create the crawl budget. Because that's the point of technical SEO, it's to make your site as easy to crawl as possible, because every site has kind of a limited crawl budget. A crawl budget is basically what the amount of times Google will crawl your URLs. And so for this site that had thousands of URLs, we need to make sure that we tell Google to go to the correct ones and not waste our budget on URLs that are irrelevant. And so that's the thing that we focused on at the start. And a lot of these duplicate and thin content issues were because the brand owner and the other people working on the site, they simply just copied and pasted pages and then changed a few things. And so there were URLs that were similar, or they were copies, same with the product pages and things like that. And so there was a lot of things that we had to address. But as I said, that's things that we kind of got to as we moved through all the content. Now everything is addressed technically, or is about to be. We started writing content. And so we wrote about 300 words of content for each collection page, and included about 3 to 5 internal links to other relevant car models for similar years or builds to the collection that we were writing for. And so this allowed us to quickly spread authority to other pages that were similar, and will help the authority pass through as we build more links to the site. Now, 300 words for a collection page isn't heaps, but again, you understand the specific brand you're working with, and we understand the keyword intent and what this type of product was. And so we didn't need to go overboard. There was no need to write 700 to 800 words of content, because just purely because of the type of product that it was and type of collection that it was. And so by simply adding 300 words of content to these pages, we were already helping Google understand them better and evidently make the brand more money. As I said, going from 84 to 127, so it's obviously worked. There were some URLs that needed updating as well because they were too long, or they referenced the incorrect cars. As I said, a lot of the times there was just kind of copy and pasted URLs and collections and stuff. And so a URL could be referencing a completely different collection than it was actually for. And so we had to change a few of those, set up some 301 redirects, so we made sure that they all got directed to the right place. And beyond that, there wasn't actually much more to say with this. This was just a big kind of rinse and repeat process for 120 different collections. So as I said, 300 words of content. We made sure we applied it to the page using the on-page checklist that I've got here. I'll zoom in so you can see that a bit more. I've referenced this a lot throughout my YouTube content, so you would have seen that before if you watched my videos. But basically, putting more content, putting more internal links, making sure that everything is all clean from a meta title, meta description point of view, and so forth. And basically, that's what we did for 90 days, is we just rinse and repeated and got through all these 120 collections, among a few other things as well. When it comes to off-page, I was actually working with this brand pro bono for a while, just to help out a friend. And so we didn't actually have any budget to put towards the links for the first 45 days. And so it was purely content for those the first half of this 90 days, basically. Since then, we secured a pretty small amount of budget, but still something. We've managed to secure some great link insertions to start our authority building. When we've got a small budget, I like to go for link insertions. It's just an easy way to quickly get really good links to the site. And so now moving forward, now they're paying a more established fee. We've got more budget to put towards the links. And so we're going to have a bit more focus on link building, as this, it's pretty much a brand new site from an SEO perspective. But we can see here some of the links that we've managed to get. You can see page traffic on these links and referring domains are all great. Domain traffic, DR. So we've already got some great links, and this has helped. But we're hoping to do a lot more of that moving forward. So the thing that you're probably wondering is the results. So in only 90 days, we were able to add over $40,000 in monthly organic search revenue to this brand, hitting back-to-back highest months through Google. So in March, I'll zoom in again here. In March, we started at the very start of April. So in March, they made $84,500 from Google search. And I think this was equal to their highest month previously. They did an $84,000, $83,000 month in July last year or something like that. So it was kind of equal their highest month. First month we came on, we did $95,600 from Google search. In May, we did $106,000 from Google search. And in June of 2025, we did $127,000 from Google search. So we've added $40,000 in organic search revenue just in 90 days, which is amazing. And on top of that, we have helped them reach record sales month across their brand for 2 months in a row now. And we actually just pretty much equaled this in July as well. So it's 3 months in a row where they've had record sales months. So you can see here, it was May last year. They just got over 300K for the first time ever. They almost got that again in November. And then we can say we started SEO in April of this year, and they've had 2 back-to-back sales months hitting just over 350K months for the brand. And they hit another one of that in July, and it's looking like we're going to soar past that in August as well, which is great. And the reason this is all happening is because we now have almost 400 keywords ranking in the top 3 positions on Google. And you can see a lot of these keywords, the volume is actually really small. Like, this is your US brand as well. There's 100 to 150 to 200 people a month searching for these products. But you can see we're moving them from the 11th to the 2nd, the 22nd to the second page, second position. And also a lot of keywords going from the second position to the first. And this is making a difference. These numbers may seem small, but when you apply this to 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 products, you know, the numbers add up, and evidently they're making a lot of money as a result, which is great. And also, I have been on the road for a couple of weeks, and so I actually wrote this about a month ago, but since the time of writing this case study, we've actually continued to grow by finalizing all the collection pages, and now we've started to move on to some product page optimizations, and we're kind of soaring through that as well. And as a result, we've reached more record months, as I said, for the brand, adding a total of $134,000 in additional organic search revenue in only 5 months, probably only 4 months actually. We've still got a little bit to go. And so all of this work that we're doing has ended up going from $84,000 to a bit over $127,000. And this brand has made an extra $134,000 in organic search revenue in only 5 months. So there you go. There's another breakdown of a brand that we've been working with. If you're an e-commerce brand and you want some help with your SEO, click the first link in the description. You can book a call with me and we can talk about how we can hopefully get you some amazing numbers like this. You can have a look at my website, zbseo.com.au, to check out a few more of how we do this. And hopefully I'll see you on a call. If not, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.